Have you ever wondered what you could be doing to set yourself up for a healthy pregnancy? Pregnancy requires a ton of nutrients, so we want to be the healthiest version of ourselves possible so our bodies prioritize reproduction and we can have the healthiest pregnancy possible. In this video, I'm going to share 3 labs that I think you should utilize to your benefit to get a much better understanding of where your health currently stands. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what labs to ask your doctor for, how to interpret them, and why they really matter for pregnancy. Over the years of working with many functional MDs and lots of prenatal nutrition clients, I have seen firsthand the power of lab results and having that data to practice preventative care. The question really is, if you could minimize your exposure to certain risks or complications, why wouldn't you? Sometimes I don't understand conventional healthcare, why it's set up to wait until someone is actually sick to treat, and they're not really flagging things when they could be. So in these labs, I'm hoping to give you the power of information and really inspire you to take some action and minimize your risks and exposures for things like miscarriage or unfavorable cognitive outcomes for your future baby, things like smaller brain volumes or differences in IQ or developmental delays. These labs can also give you a really good sense of metabolic issues in your body and how that might impact your future baby, changes in genetic expression. By the end of it, I hope you'll feel really empowered by the science and feel really confident that you can get these labs done and you can totally correct course with your diet and your lifestyle to make a positive impact in your pregnancy. The first lab I recommend you get with your doctor on is your hemoglobin A1C. This is a really simple test to run, and it's an easy one that your doctor will be very familiar with, so it's not really a big ask, but this is going to give you a good sense of your 3-month average blood sugar. This is a main predictor of if you will go on to develop gestational diabetes or if you have any underlying metabolic health issues. So you're gonna wanna see where you're falling on that spectrum. If you're between 5.7 and 6.4, that means you're pre-diabetic, and we'd really wanna start bringing that number down before you even get pregnant, which will help support your fertility and really start to minimize your risk for developing gestational diabetes. If you are at a 5.9, that's really predictive of developing gestational diabetes during pregnancy. There was one study that found 98% of women that had a 5.9 or higher went on to develop gestational diabetes. So that's something we could totally work on with your diet and lifestyle ahead of pregnancy, which is really motivating because blood sugar responds really well to the choices we make with food and lifestyle. Most experts agree that having a A1C below 5.5 is a really good range. Some experts say something below 5.0 is even better. That would be considered optimal, but somewhere below 5.0 or below 5.5 is a pretty good range. If you start creeping up to 5.4, 5.5, we might want to start being a little bit more mindful of your food choices and how that might be impacting your average blood sugar. If you are at a 5.7, that's when we'd really want some intervention and make some bigger changes, because that is putting you at a 3 times higher chance of developing gestational diabetes, which can have unfavorable metabolic outcomes for your future baby. It's going to put them at risk for developing metabolic disease later in life. Chronically high blood sugar levels is also not great for mitochondrial health because it can lead to chromosomal abnormalities, which can actually cause a greater chance of miscarriage, and it makes it a lot harder to conceive. During pregnancy, high blood sugar is not good for the baby's brain, and higher blood sugar levels is associated with autism and ADHD. So we really want to manage blood sugar before pregnancy and during, and this A1C test is going to be a really good predictor of where you're falling on that spectrum. If you have a higher A1C, you might want to look into further testing because the A1C is an average. It's not really giving us all the data points on how your meals are affecting your blood sugar, what your fasting glucoses or fasting insulin. So there's further labs you can definitely ask for if you suspect you have a metabolic issue. And there's definitely a lot of really interesting tools like CGMs that you can invest in to really start to get more data points and a better understanding of how your blood sugar is responding throughout the day. If you need help with managing your blood sugar, definitely check out the Hello Baby prenatal nutrition course, because a major cornerstone of the course is teaching you how to eat and lifestyle tips to manage your blood sugar levels to prevent gestational diabetes or manage it if you end up being diagnosed. But blood sugar balance is so important for fertility and pregnancy, no matter what. Even if you don't get diagnosed with gestational diabetes, it's important for every woman because your blood sugar levels and your metabolic health is really going to determine your baby's future metabolic health. The next lab that I recommend you ask your doctor for is a full thyroid panel. And this one is really just to cross the boxes off to make sure that there is no any underlying thyroid issues happening. Most likely your thyroid will be completely fine and you won't even need to worry. But in the off chance that you do have some sort of untreated sluggish thyroid or something like that, this is a really important one to address before you get pregnant. One study found that 60% of women who had overt hypothyroidism that was left untreated experienced miscarriage. So this is a really important one that we just want to cross off and rest assured that everything is good to go. If you do have any sort of thyroid issues, you probably will need some replacement hormones, which is something that I would take a lot of comfort in knowing you're addressing before you get pregnant, because the baby is really dependent on your thyroid hormones for the better half of your pregnancy. And if you're not producing enough, then the baby can really suffer. So this is one that I just like to get to make sure that everything is good to go. Most likely you're not going to need to worry at all. It's just an easy one to get. It's not a big deal, and your doctor can definitely do it for you. The next lab that I think is worth asking your doctor for is a nutrient panel. And this is really important because you want to go into pregnancy with optimal nutrient status, and we know based on the research that having low-level deficiencies can cause a lot of issues during pregnancy and really lead to some unfavorable changes for your baby throughout their development. And we want to build the healthiest baby possible, and that requires a lot of nutrients. So seeing where you're at ahead of pregnancy can help us make corrections that are necessary before you even get pregnant so that you can have the healthiest pregnancy and healthiest baby possible. One nutrient that comes to mind is vitamin D. Vitamin D is so crucial in so many aspects of your baby's development, from their brain size, the brain development, from preventing some pregnancy complications for you. There was actually one study that found that getting vitamin D levels above 40 nanograms per milliliter gave you a 60% decreased risk for preterm labor. Preterm labor, having the baby too soon, can really cause issues for your baby, and you don't want them coming out sooner than they need to because that can disrupt brain development and organ development. So getting your vitamin D levels above 40 is so easy to do with supplementation. That's a really easy thing to correct. So for me, I'm always looking at how do we take the data from a nutrient panel, get you to optimal nutrient status, so you're supporting your fertility and preventing issues that can be prevented, like preterm labor due to low vitamin D, for example. Another nutrient that I would look at on a nutrient panel would be a woman's folate levels. And if I saw she was super low, but maybe she was taking a prenatal vitamin, I would look at the prenatal vitamin. Perhaps she was taking a folic acid prenatal vitamin. Well, that might tell me that she may have the MTHFR gene mutation that makes it harder for her to convert folic acid into folate. So I might switch her to a prenatal that has a methylated folate. Methylated folate I recommend for everyone because you never know how your body is converting folic acid. That is the synthetic version of folate, and maybe I should go into that deeper in another video. Let me know in the comments if you want me to. but I would switch her over to a methylated folate, increase her levels. This is really important early on in pregnancy because the neural tube is forming in that first 28 days, and we want to support healthy brain development, spinal cord development with folate that she needs and make sure she is not dealing with a deficiency early on in pregnancy. To test your nutrient status, I really love the Genova Nutri-Eval. This is the one that I always use because it's the most comprehensive and it gives you a really full picture on what your mitochondrial health looks like, your inflammation levels, your nutrient profile, toxicity. It really does provide a full picture and it's so comprehensive. It's very actionable and I find it to be the most beneficial and helpful for me in bringing my clients' fertility and their health to the next level. But I'd love to know, what labs are your doctors running for you? Do you have any questions on the labs I've mentioned? And if you want to know more about lab testing and different things I'm recommending for this preconception window, definitely check out the free fertility guide because I have a lot of links in there that will help guide you in your fertility journey and give you more information on the topics we talked about today and so much more. If you're ready to take the guesswork out of what to eat for a healthy pregnancy, I've got you covered. Inside the Hello Baby prenatal nutrition course, you will learn how to optimize your nutrition so you can support your baby's development through every trimester. Stop all the Googling and start feeling empowered with the latest prenatal nutrition science. Click the link in the description to learn more.